That is really why I want to dedicate this channel to humanizing business, because we are very spiritual, energetic beings, and it does influence the way that we do business and the way that we work. Welcome to my channel. This is Ashley Rodriguez on No Brands Land, hosting this on my Ashley Speaks channel, and we are talking all things humanizing business and marketing with soul. So if you like spirituality, business, human development, human nature, all of that stuff wrapped into one, this is the channel for you. You're gonna love it. Stick around. We do have a series where I do reaction videos and all kinds of different content on here. I'm going to be getting into some channeling content, which is very fun for the emerging spiritual space, and I just can't wait to dive in. Now, in this video specifically, I want to talk about the energetic evolution that happens in business. You can read books like The Dip by Seth Godin. There are a lot of psychological principles that kind of explain what we go through as business owners. It's something that I personally experienced over the last decade or so doing business things, and it's been a constant process of growth and a journey that had to just kind of unfold within itself. Very similar, again, patterns. If you followed my channel at all, I talk a lot about patterns, but it's a natural process that happens as we grow, develop, as we gain new information. It is completely okay to take different stances or change your perspective. One thing that I can't stand about the world of politics, and no, we are not going to talk about politics here, but one thing I can't stand about that industry in specific is that they tie people to their principles from decades ago or their perspectives from decades ago. And in reality, we're all meant to shift and grow over time. As we gain new insight and new information, we make different choices and we gain different perspectives. On a personal note, I did have a conversation very similar to this one with my husband several years ago when he was discharging from his military service. He was ready to be done. We began having our children, and that was just something that we knew was not going to be aligned with the lifestyle that we wanted. So we both decided to finish our service and pursue different careers. And at the time, he was looking at getting into a service industry and barbering specifically, and that led him to kind of question, well, what if I don't like it? What if it's not something I want to do? And my advice, the same advice I would have for you, the same advice I would give myself years ago if I was talking to younger me, is that you don't know until you try it. And in fact, I've learned that as I try new things, as I discover new paths, as I make my movements forward and just kind of naturally grow and progress, I kind of stumble and fall into what feels more like me, what feels more authentic, what feels more exciting. What am I motivated to do? What do I notice that I'm procrastinating on or feeling drained from or kind of trying to get out of, right? So as you continue this journey, you are naturally going to evolve over time. And that's exactly why I'm very careful to have businesses for myself that are not going to lock me in to a rigid schedule or a rigid model. I'm very, very flexible when I design the businesses that I want to work in, because I know that naturally over time I shift and I change. So the same thing happens in business. I've had several different brands, some of them not very successful, some of them mildly successful. And what I'm doing currently is super fulfilling and very successful to me. And success is defined by however you feel success is for you. That could be monetary, that could be time and peace of mind, that could be flexibility. There are different things that are going to signal that you are successful to yourself. You get to identify what that is for you. That kind of brings me into a little bit of the woo space when we're talking about energy and we're talking about human development, spirituality, all of those things. You will find that on this channel. So if it's not your vibe, take it or leave it. Only take what resonates and leave what doesn't. And so for energy specifically, it is natural to kind of shift and want to change and to kind of want to grow. We go through these natural transitions in the spiritual world, just like we do in the physical. And that can manifest itself in different ways in business. Now, what I mean by that, I can only speak for myself. I've had several business ideas that I've even started to pursue, that I've put time and money behind, that I've done research behind. And only after kind of launching or getting through that period or that phase, I'm kind of realizing like, maybe I'm not liking this so much. Maybe that's not aligning so much. I loved the idea, don't really love the execution of it or the reality of it. And then I begin to kind of shift and mold and take the shape that I need. For me, I tend to be a little bit more mutable. I'm very easily inspired and influenced by different ideas. And so I have to have a really rigid, I guess rigid is not the word. I really don't like that word, but a very like purposeful, intentional way that I do things so that I don't become distracted or squirrel brained and get into things that just don't need to be my thing. All right, so let's get into the fun stuff, what we came here for, which was the energetic role of business. And I want to talk specifically about sustainability in this video. There have been so many times that I have gotten myself into situations or I've become obligated to things or I've developed these responsibilities that completely drain me, wash me out, like suck the living life out of me. And that is not sustainable. But I only began to identify things that I was interested in or what really lit me up when I found things that pulled me down, things that really didn't excite me. And so I've come to realize over time that I'm more of a visionary, which means that the little details that I used to be really good at, the numbers, the data, the details, that was a large part of my career that I just moved out of, began to exhaust me. And I began to move into a phase where I was becoming more of the visionary. I had a big picture, a big idea, a movement, an idea about like change that could be inspired. But the execution of it, the nitty-gritty details, I really needed to work and collaborate with a team to bring to life. And so that was a key experience for me, and just beginning to understand what shifting in our professional lives actually looked like. I went from being really good at one thing and thriving in that and really pursuing that as a part of my career to, after 5 or 6 years, kind of being exhausted by it. And there's several reasons I think that could be. It could just be that I went into it a little too hard and became burnt out, or maybe that was just a season of my life meant to sharpen specific skills that I can use later on. Those skills are not going to disappear, so it's not in vain, but that chapter of my life allowed me a different perspective that I can then carry into other parts of what I'm doing now, which is great. That is really why I want to dedicate this channel to humanizing business, because we are very spiritual, energetic beings, and it does influence the way that we do business and the way that we work. I have some recommendations throughout these series and these videos that you might come to enjoy if you are into that kind of stuff. If you're not, then keep it superficial, stay on my reaction videos or some of my simple monologuing videos, and you'll be okay there. Now, when we talk about energy, specifically what I want to focus on in this moment is alignment. And alignment is so crucial, because if you're not aligned or you're misaligned in your roles and responsibilities or your direction, you are going to feel it. It is going to manifest itself in ways that are unexplainable, both spiritually, energetically, and physically. Physically is a big one, because over the last few years, I developed a lot of chronic health issues that I've come to find out by tracking my blood work results and working with primary care providers, that it's actually, I developed an autoimmune response to the stress and the misalignment in my life. And I'm only just now starting to correct those things and fix it years later. So what I would say about alignment is that if you find yourself kind of dragging your feet, procrastinating, just kind of dreading showing up each day, if you get a phone call from certain people and you get a lot of anxiety or discomfort, that is a clear signal. All of those are clear signals that you need to take a step back and maybe pivot in another direction. Now, this can get a little tricky, because it could also just be an indication that maybe you're charting that you're starting to explore uncharted territory in your professional career, and you might just need to take some classes or do some self-development to increase your skills in that area. So take note, really tune into yourself in those moments where you're feeling like you're dreading things, or you're feeling anxiety, or you're procrastinating, and really try to find out, is it because I'm truly unhappy here, or is it because I feel challenged and I need to kind of step up to the plate, step up to a different skill level? You should know the difference, because one is going to kind of make you feel a little bit nervous, a little bit fearful maybe, because it's natural, it's the unknown, but you're not going to feel exhausted and drained and anxious, right? Like anxious just thinking about something. A little bit of nervousness when you're moving into a progression or development is normal, because you are, again, exploring uncharted territory. But if you're experiencing things that are causing you to feel dread and anxiety, like chronic anxiety and tiredness and procrastination, it's more likely that you are misaligned in your current roles or responsibilities. Now, I know we're talking about the energetic and the spiritual here on a very superficial level, but this is also validated through psychology, and it's known as occupational burnout. Now, occupational burnout can be defined as a syndrome characterized by prolonged emotional exhaustion, feelings of cynicism, which would be the dread, right? The detachment from your work, and reduced professional efficacy. So long story short, it just means that when you are not aligned in your roles and responsibilities, and you begin to have some of these symptoms of procrastination, like severe procrastination, like things just are not getting done, that's a different level, then it's more likely that you are misaligned rather than just challenged. I want to be very clear here in life in general, whether that be spiritual, energetic, professional, personal, whatever it is. When we are challenged, we don't want that to signal that we need to flee or run away if it's not necessary. Challenge is a great thing. We've all heard of the metaphor with a seed growing out of the soil. It has to work and be challenged to reach the sunlight. It has to go through that soil to develop stronger roots. Challenge is an absolutely fantastic thing. Obstacles, opposition, these are all great experiences in our life to trigger and develop growth. There's a clear difference, however, in feeling challenged and feeling absolutely unmotivated or depressed or sad or just unaligned, right? Misaligned in our roles. Now, because of how I am uniquely designed, because of my gifts, and now that I've tapped more into the spiritual because of my spiritual alignments, I'm realizing that I tend to get a little bit squirrel-brained. Again, I'm a visionary, so there's a lot of big ideas, dreams, and visions that I do have, and sometimes that can become a little overwhelming or distracting. What I want to share with you here, and I feel led to share this, is that if you feel a little bit distrustful of yourself because you change your mind, you make different decisions, or you feel a little bit internally conflicted, like you're more than one person, not personalities, but you have different perspectives, or you consider multiple perspectives. If you tend to be that type of person, don't fear, don't fret, you are going to be just fine, and don't become distrustful of yourself if you do change your mind. I would love to encourage you to have some grace with yourself, to really lean into those decisions and understand why you're feeling pulled in different directions. If you can think about it this way, it's like being blindfolded and kind of being pulled through a maze. You're gonna have to shift and pivot slightly in different areas of your life to really get the full alignment that you're looking for. It doesn't mean that you've made wrong decisions or that you shouldn't trust your decisions. You should absolutely trust your gut feeling and your intuition when it comes to making big life decisions or professional decisions. But know that if you do shift and pivot slightly, and it's a constant thing, or maybe it's just something that you're going through as a part of a transition right now, don't lose faith or trust in yourself to make the right decisions for yourself. When you're feeling a little bit cloudy, if you're feeling pulled in different directions, that's a great indication to just sit and be with yourself and really tune into what you are your gut is telling you. You can do your pros and cons list, writing the pros and the cons of the decisions that you need to make. But ultimately, if you're feeling confused, that's a great time to kind of tap out, to tune in to whatever your avenue is for gaining clarity, whether that be through meditation or prayer or seeking out some kind of different guidance from whatever it is that you seek for guidance. And that's all I have on this topic. Again, very, very superficial, just kind of dipping our toes in the water here and talking a little bit about the mix of spirituality and business, just being human and business. I am going to get much deeper into some of this content. So if you like this content, please follow and subscribe. It helps more than you know, and it just tells me that you like this content, that you want to see more of it. This is kind of the direction that we're heading in. I really want this to be a unique business channel where it's not all about the physical and the practical, but also about the energetic, the human nature part of us, and the spiritual. It's all consolidated and combined into one lively experience, and I'm so happy to be able to share this with you. Finally, it's been a long journey of me coming out to be able to do things like this and understanding more of my experiences so that I can hopefully share that with you. And hopefully it makes an impact, makes a difference, and you see this as a positive channel to be a part of. If you are new here, thank you for coming. I hope you stick around. If the spiritual energetic is not your vibe, take a look at some of the other playlists that I have. They're a little bit more practically aligned, a little bit more about the physical and just general business and marketing. If you do like this content, then come back to this playlist because there will be more of this to come. And also, if you're a returning viewer, I want to say thank you so much. I do appreciate you being here. It just makes me feel really great, right? I have historically been behind the scenes in marketing. I tend to be behind the scenes helping brands and running marketing, and I'm only just now at a point in my life and career where I feel more comfortable coming out in the forefront and actually sharing some of the observances that I've had. So you're doing a lot to just help me boost my confidence and really express myself in ways that I think are important for time and now. Something I wanted to point out, I have a vision board books. If you haven't seen my other videos, I won't talk too much about it here, just very quickly at the end. And it's basically a vision board poster wrapped into a hardcover book. This is just one design out of like 15 different designs that I have, but essentially you can copy, cut and paste in these blank pages here, just like you would for a vision board poster, but you can take this with you, and also you can interact throughout the year on different pages to find out what your milestones are, what's pivoting, what's changing every month. There's monthly check-ins here. It's a great way to just get tapped into what your goals are for the year and interact with it throughout the year. I've had so many moments where I make a really pretty board. I pay like $80 for the poster, the crafting material, all of the photos, and then at the end of the year, I'm kind of lost about what I intended for January. I'm like, what does that picture mean? What did that goal mean? What did I mean by that? And it's very hard to track what's actually changed throughout the year because things pivot all the time in business. You have to be very flexible and adaptable to the market, to your audience, to your own needs. So things are constantly changing, and this is a great way to monitor that change so that you don't get lost in the sauce and you can actually grow. That's applicable for business, personal life, anything you can think of. Whew. All right, that was a long-winded way to just say thank you for being here, and I will see you in the next video.